Hey, what's up? Welcome to DGen Ed. That's degenerative education, meaning none of this is financial advice. Just me having fun looking at charts and going over some data. And so I am recording this late on Tuesday, March 11th, well after the market has closed. And I had to make this video because NIO is just looking really exciting. And so here we are looking at the NIO chart, that's ticker symbol NIO. NIO closed on the day, today, Tuesday, March 11th, at a price of $5.22, being up over 17% on the day, continuing up a penny in the after hours and another penny in the overnight. Currently, it looks like it's around 524, but take the overnight trading action with a grain of salt. And so, yeah, I think that the chart is just looking really beautiful. I do have this downtrending light blue line that has acted as resistance. I was getting excited in the past about potential breakouts over here, but I was definitely a little bit early. But very clearly, it does look like we have broken out, retested, and now we're moving higher. And so I am just super stoked about the chart. Wanted to dive into a few specific things. Sorry, I've been at work all day and it's kind of late, so sorry if I'm fumbling with my words. But yeah, I was looking at this during the market hours today. I started work before close, so that's why this video is coming out so late. But I was noticing that, hey, we are above the 200-day moving average here, which is currently at a price of $4.71.5. It looks like that was effectively the low, not even. The low today was $4.72. Does look like we came down to kiss that level before continuing higher. And so, it's just looking really good. And one thing that I posted about on X was that, I was excited about being above the 200-day moving average, wanted to see a close above that. And I was looking for a close above 513, which was the high that we hit on February 27th. So we did get that closing at 522, like I said, and we did hit a high during market hours of $5.33. So overall, looking really good there. But there are a few things that, we should be considering. One is that we could definitely, always possible, be getting a pullback before this does continue higher. So be cautious of that. I have put out videos when it looked like NIO was breaking out, but then it did get rejected. So do be cautious with it. But some things that do look different, some things that look really good about it right now is, like I said, got a close well above the 200-day moving average. And so it does look like the last time we closed above it was on February 7th, but it wasn't much higher. It does look like we had a pretty big wick to the top side there. So that didn't look too strong. Whereas for today on the 11th, we did close pretty close to the top there, and of course above that level of 513. And then also something that's good for us to be paying attention to is the volume. And so something that does make me feel pretty good about this move. Not only the big gap up that we saw, but looking at the volume, we saw a volume of over 162 million shares traded today. It looks like 162.17 million shares. Whereas over here, when we were kind of putting in that top there, the number of shares traded on February 27th was 134.81 million. So we got about, 30 million more shares traded today. So it looks like there's more volume behind the move. So looking very good there. And then I also did want to point out this other pivot high from, it looks like December 9th. It's quite possible I put a video out there when I was thinking, we might be breaking out, but it did look like, not only got rejected from that downtrend, which, to be fair, is based on that pivot high from December 9th, but it did get rejected from that 50-day moving average there in yellow. But what I wanted to do with that is I wanted to compare it with today's high. So, maybe it looks like, maybe there's a double top here, but we have more volume behind it. So that does make me feel pretty confident that we could be continuing higher into the close of the week. But then I started to think, well, maybe there's a double top over here. The high from December 9th was at a price of $5.36. So, just 3 pennies above where the high was from today. So that's making me think, well, maybe it's a little bit risky. Maybe there is a double top and we could be seeing a rejection. But, like I was just talking about over here, we were below and closed below, got rejected from that 50-day moving average. Whereas over here, not only are we well above the 50 and 21-day moving average there in that peach color, that salmon color, pink, whatever you want to call it, above all of those levels, we are also above the 200-day moving average with a very strong close above it. So I just think that this is looking very different than what we saw over here. There's a lot more strength behind that move. And another way we can think about that, not just looking at those moving averages, but we can look at the volume. So like I said, for today, we had a volume of 162 million shares traded. If we look back over here to December 9th, we only had 123 million shares traded. So the volume's about 40 million more than over here. We also have a much stronger candle going up 17% on the day, which was followed, from this gap up here with that big candle move. Over here, we also saw a gap up, but from a close at the low. And on the 9th of December, that was a little over 12% move on the day. So overall, this is just looking really, really good. And so one other thing in this is, me just doodling on the chart. So take it with a big grain of salt. I was thinking, I was looking at this on my phone at work, and I was thinking, well, maybe there's, left shoulder over here, possibly. We did hit a lower low over here to form what is potentially a head. And then maybe this is like a little micro right inverse shoulder over here. So, just let's doodle it up here, not being too serious about it. Just going to grab the trend line and we can maybe, let's see, I want it to be intersecting with this point as the armpit. So let's just draw this over here. And then this other point, actually, I don't want to do it as a trend line. I'm going to do it as a ray so we can have two very specific pivot points. So I'm going to make this pivot point be here from the high from February 27th at 513. And then I'm going to make the other pivot point. I can't do it like that. It's going to be a ray in the reverse direction. I thought it'd always be going forward. Anyways, I'm going to do the pivot point from the high from December 9th. Sorry about that. And then getting over here. And then so if I do just drag that over, that is, potentially an inverse head and shoulders pattern with that nice purple neckline there, left shoulder there, head here, and then that right inverse shoulder over here. We did close above that. And so with that being said, I will take a measurement of this so we can look at that to see where it might be taking us price-wise to the upside. But because we got this one close above 513, above this prior high, because we've gotten this one close above this potential doodle of a neckline, we could be seeing a reversal tomorrow or the next day. Who knows? So what we really want to be seeing is maintaining another close, multiple closes above 513. But ideally, we want to see this continue to move up tomorrow and into the end of the week, maybe getting up into, close to or into the $6 range. So, I do think it is good to be prepared for or to not be too surprised by if we do see a pullback to, let's say, right around $5 a share. And if that holds as support, that could be a nice retest before it does start to go higher. So that is one possibility. So do be prepared for that. If it does pull back to 5, keep an eye on it to see if we do hold above that level. Another possibility, and this is the one that I would like, or actually maybe I prefer a pullback, maybe add a little bit more. and then it goes higher. But it could also, just continue to go up. I think we'd all probably be pretty happy with that. But the cautious scenario, the one thing that we might want to be considering is it's possible that this could pull back to that 200-day moving average, right around 475 or so, before, maybe pulls up here. Maybe it has a hard time getting above these levels, and then it goes up. So any one of those possibilities, any one of those options, all possible. But let's, enough of my rambling. Let's take a measurement from the base of this head. So I'm just going to be taking a measurement from the low here, which is at 401. And then I'm just going to measure it up here. And unfortunately, I need to adjust the axis here just so I can step back. And so what I am doing is this box here. This is the midpoint. So I just want that midpoint to be a straight line up from the base of that inverse head up to the neckline, and then the measured move would then be basically a continuation up that same distance, but really that would be taken from the break, so I could adjust this down a little bit, but that looks like it's right around $6.50, so maybe we're going to be heading to around there in the coming weeks. I think that would be super awesome. But I think that we could also be going higher. I have talked about it getting up to around $7 or $6.90. Have fun with the 69, or maybe getting up to around $8. I would really like to see it heading up to $8. And we do have this prior high from September 30th that was $7.71. So, marked there by the yellow line. So maybe we could be seeing it getting up there. I'd be really excited about that. I'm sure we would all be excited by that. And let's see, I feel like there's one other thing I wanted to talk about with the chart before going over to unusual whales. But yeah, I think that we could be seeing this really start to rally. Oh, I guess, I wanted to mention, when was the last time we had a volume of around 162 million? It looks like the last time, if we just flip over to where the cursor is, if I just drag that over, the last time we had volume above 162, that would have been when it was 214.41 on September 30th, so when we were putting in that high here. So the last time that we had volume higher than we saw today was when we were trading at a high of $7.71. So if volume does really come back, if we do start to step it up, I think that we could be heading towards $8 a share by the end of March. So be prepared for that. It's possible. But it's also possible we get rejected from that, measured move around 650 or so, or maybe, just to the top of this downtrend, and that high from October 28th looks like it was at a price of around $6.03. So $6, maybe that's a good target for us. So do keep that in mind. But anyways, I did want to flip over to unusual whales just to go over some premium data as well as to look at Max Pain. And so real quick here, just looking at the premium data for today. And so what stands out to me is that we, of course, in yellow, see the stock price going up. We all experience that. That is great. But with the stock price going up, we see the net put premium in red staying flat. So that's good. Nobody's buying puts, nobody's going crazy, going short or anything. So that is good. We do see in green the net call premium going up over the course of the day to close the day with net call premium increasing by $3.84 million. So that's a lot of money. But one thing that I'd actually prefer to see is kind of more steps up in the net call premium, because if you just see it fading up or floating up, that really just means that retail is buying calls. So that's not like a whale. An unusual whale is buying a really big position. We want to be following or feeding off of, the little bits that fall out of the whale's mouth. And so we don't really see that too much with the chart, but with it going up nearly $4 million by the close of the day, net call premium, that is really good. But with this little blip up here around, let's see, 11:36 in the morning, the net call premium at this time was around $900,000. And then following this blip up, it went up about $900 million. So that's pretty good. And so I could look that up and to dive into some of the more of the options data if you guys want. So let me know in the comments if you do want me to follow up looking into some of the options contracts data. Be happy to do that, but I just don't want to take up too much time with this video as I have rambled a lot with it. But I did want to switch over to the past 30 days so we can see if this net call premium increase of about 4 million stands out as being kind of unusual. And yeah, it does. So this is the highest amount of net call premium, the biggest increase that we've seen in the past 30 days. The last time we saw a spike this high was on February 26th. And if we look at the chart, when was February 26th? That looks like it was this day when we had this big green candle up. And so the day after that, we did continue higher, but we did get rejected. So maybe we see a continuation higher into Wednesday, but look for, a pullback. If we do see a topping signal like this, that might be the extent of the run. And so what we could see happening with this is, I had mentioned it going up to like 650 or so. So let's say we do get a move up to, let's say, 650, right around there. What we could see by the end of the week is maybe a pullback to retest that next neckline. Maybe by the end of next week we get back there, who knows? And then maybe we from there start to go higher. So maybe something like that. So if we do see a big wick up, that might be a reversal signal that the move to the upside has come to a close. But one thing that I think is going to be very important for us to be keeping an eye on for this week as well as next week is going to be the Max Pain. I think that we are just primed potentially for a gamma squeeze with NIO, because for this upcoming Friday, which is Pi Day. So I don't know if you guys like Pi, but it's a special day in the markets when NIO's going to moon. I'm just kidding. I have no idea. But Pi Day is always a fun day to remember. And for this options expiration, Max Pain is $4.50. And currently we're at, almost, two strikes above that, $5 and nearly getting to $5.50. So that could be triggering a gamma squeeze or maybe a gamma ramp, especially because if we look at next week's Max Pain, that's where it gets pretty interesting. But with the Max Pain being at 450, we might see that increase to 5 by the end of this week, and then we might also see some downward pressure on the stock price because market makers don't want this to be squeezing super high. They want to kind of keep it suppressed. So do keep an eye on that. But if we are to continue higher, if we're to close the week well above 450, I think that could trigger, whether it's a gamma squeeze or gamma ramp, I'm not really sure. But looking at the following Friday, so March 21st, Max Pain's only $4. So let's say we close this week around 6 and we're able to keep the momentum, we're able to keep the volume, that's not dying down, it's still going up. If Max Pain for next week is 4, 450 or 5 and we're still going higher, that's a gamma ramp. We are ramping up. So, I'm pretty excited about that, but a little bit of caution, maybe the 4 weeks following March 21st comes back to, or increases back up to, $4.50. I do believe that a lot of these were $4. They have increased, it looked like. And so if these Max Pains that are later dated start to go higher, that could be kind of a suppression or a dampening of whatever gamma squeeze or ramp we might be seeing. But with this week being 450, next week being 4, and us trading well above $5, as long as we keep this volume going, as long as we see millions of dollars flowing into the stock price, into this premium, I think this is looking really, really good. And so I feel like what we have been waiting for months, I feel like it's finally happening. And so I'm wondering if during March we could see, I don't want to get ahead of myself and say $8 a share, but maybe we could be seeing 7 or, maybe 6.9, because 69, it's a fun number. But yeah, anyways, all together here, I think it's looking great. I'm really excited about it. I had to put this video out for you guys, and let me know if you want some more info on the options contracts, the various ones. I'd be happy to do another one. So just let me know. But as usual, those are just my thoughts. If you found them helpful, make sure you like the video, share your thoughts in the comments down below, and make sure you subscribe to the channel for more chaotic videos like this one. Thanks a lot for watching. Take care, you guys.